The phone buzzed on my kitchen counter at 6:47 a.m. I stared at my daughter-in-law's name flashing across the screen, my coffee mug frozen halfway to my lips. Jessica, the woman who hadn't called me in 2 months, not since she'd casually mentioned that the baby shower I'd asked about was last weekend. Family only. My hand trembled as I answered. Hello? Linda. Her voice was frantic, raw with exhaustion. Thank God. I need you to fly here immediately. The baby, I can't do this. Marcus is traveling for work and I haven't slept in 3 days and, stop. The word came out harder than I intended. I set down my mug carefully, watching the steam rise in the early morning light filtering through my kitchen window. Take a breath. Jessica. She did. I heard it rattle through the phone. Now, I said slowly. You need help with the baby? Yes. Please. I'm drowning here. Can you come? Today? I'll pay for your flight. Just, sure. I kept my voice bright, almost cheerful. My rate is $50 an hour. I require payment up front for the first week, and there's a 4-hour minimum per day. I also charge for travel time from the airport. Let's see. San Diego to Denver is about 2.5 hours. So, silence. Then, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Was I unclear? I walked to my window, looking out at the garden my late husband Tom had planted 15 years ago. The roses were blooming despite the June heat. He'd always said they were survivors. Family gets discounts. Of course. But according to you, I'm not family. So we're looking at standard childcare rates. Linda, this isn't funny, no. Jessica, it's really not. But let me tell you how I got here. How I went from being the grandmother who bought out the entire registry at Target to being the hired help. How I learned that family only had terms and conditions I'd never agreed to. It started 8 months ago, when my son Marcus called to tell me Jessica was pregnant. I'd been a widow for 3 years by then. 3 years of learning how to sleep in an empty bed, how to cook for one, how to exist in a house that still smelled like Tom's aftershave even though I'd given away all his clothes. 3 years of my son living 2 states away with a wife who smiled at me like I was a distant acquaintance. Not the woman who'd raised the man she married, but a baby, a grandchild, my first. I'd cried on the phone, not caring that Marcus sounded uncomfortable with my emotion. Oh honey, I'm so happy for you both. Thanks, Mom. We're excited too. Listen, Jessica's feeling pretty sick, so I should probably, of course, tell her I'm thinking of her. And if you need anything at all, I'm here. I could come help. Or, we're good. But thanks. The call lasted 4 minutes. Over the next months, I tried. God, I tried. I texted Jessica pregnancy tips I'd saved from magazines. I sent a care package with ginger tea and those acupressure wristbands for morning sickness. I bought a book about becoming a grandmother and highlighted passages about how to support new parents without being intrusive. Her responses were polite, distant. Thanks for the tea. That's thoughtful. Appreciate it. Marcus assured me everything was fine when I called. She's just tired. Mom, pregnancy is hard on her. So I gave them space. I waited for the invitation I was sure would come. The baby shower invitation. The moment when I'd finally be pulled into this new chapter of their lives. In late April, I couldn't help myself. I texted Marcus, hey sweetheart. Just wondering when the baby shower might be? Want to make sure I can get the time off work. I worked part-time at the library, hardly essential. But I wanted to seem busy, needed, not desperate. Marcus replied 3 hours later, I'll ask Jess and get back to you. Then nothing. A week passed. I texted again, trying to sound casual. Hi, just checking in about the shower. No rush. This time, Jessica herself responded. Oh, that was last weekend. Family only. But thanks for thinking of us. I read those words 17 times. Sitting in my living room, Tom's reading chair empty beside me. The baby blanket I'd been crocheting for 2 months spread across my lap. Family only. I'd given birth to Marcus. I'd walked the floor with him through colic, taught him to read, driven him to every soccer practice, paid for his college education. I'd held his hand through his father's funeral, watched him break down sobbing on my shoulder. But I wasn't family. Not family enough for a baby shower. Apparently. I called Marcus. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Mom. Hey, the shower was last weekend? Silence. Then, yeah. Jess wanted to keep it small. Just her mom and sisters. And you didn't think to tell me? To let me know it was happening so I could at least send a gift? Mom, don't make this a thing. It was her shower. Her choice. You know how you can be sometimes, how I can be. Ice water ran through my veins. What does that mean, Marcus? Just intense. Jessica said you've been texting a lot. Sending stuff. She felt overwhelmed. Overwhelming. I'd become overwhelming by caring too much. I see. My voice sounded strange. Hollow. Well, congratulations on the shower. I hope it was lovely. Mom, I hung up. For 3 days. I didn't eat. Didn't sleep properly. Just sat in Tom's chair, holding that half-finished blanket, wondering where I'd gone wrong. Had I been too enthusiastic? Too present? Or was the truth simpler, that Jessica had never wanted me in her life, had tolerated me only as long as necessary, and now that she had my son completely, I'd been edited out? On the 4th day, my best friend Margaret came over and found me still in my bathrobe at 2 p.m. Linda Chen, get up right now. I looked at her standing in my doorway, all 5 feet 2 inches of righteous fury, her silver hair blazing in the afternoon sun. I can't, Marg, I can't. She sat down, took my hands. Yes, you can. Because I didn't watch you survive losing Tom just to let some selfish girl break you. Now get dressed. We're going to lunch. I'm not hungry. I don't care. You're going. At the diner. Over eggs I barely touched. Margaret said the words I needed to hear. You're done, Linda. Done chasing people who don't value you. Done making yourself small to fit into their lives. Tom wouldn't want this for you. But the baby will be fine whether you're there or not. And maybe, she pointed her fork at me, maybe when they realize what they've lost, they'll come back. And when they do, you make them work for it. I wiped my eyes. I'm 62 years old. Marg, I'm supposed to be wise enough not to let this hurt me. Pain doesn't care about age, but neither does dignity. That conversation planted something in me. A small, hard seed of self-respect that I'd lost somewhere in my desperation to be needed. I finished the blanket, sent it with a card that said simply, congratulations on your new arrival. Best wishes, Linda. Not love, Grandma. Not can't wait to meet him. Just polite, professional. The way you'd address someone you barely knew. Because apparently, that's what we were. The baby, Nathan, was born on May 15th. I learned about it from a Facebook post, not a phone call. There he was, tiny and perfect, with Marcus's nose and Jessica's dark hair. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Our whole world. The caption read. I stared at that photo until my eyes burned. Marcus called 2 days later. Sorry, Mom. Things have been crazy. I'm sure. I kept my voice neutral. He's beautiful. Congratulations. Thanks. Listen, Jessica's mom is here helping out for the next 2 weeks. But after that, maybe you could come visit? For a day or two? After her mother's 2 weeks. A day or two. Like a distant relative making a courtesy call. I'll check my schedule and let you know. Okay. You sound weird. You mad? No. Marcus. Just busy. I have a life here too. It was petty. It was small. But God. It felt necessary. I didn't visit. I sent a card with a check for $500, generous, appropriate, and completely impersonal. The kind of gift you'd give a colleague's new baby. 2 weeks passed. A month. 6 weeks. No photos except the ones on social media. No video calls. No Nathan smiled today. Messages. Just silence. Except for Jessica's carefully curated Instagram posts showing her perfect motherhood journey, complete with her mother featuring prominently in every other photo. Nana's here helping. One caption read, showing Jessica's mom holding Nathan. Nana. She got a title, a role, a place. I got nothing. Margaret checked on me weekly. How are you holding up? Fine. And I was. I'd gone back to therapy. The grief counselor I'd seen after Tom died. We talked about boundaries. About accepting that you can't force people to love you the way you need to be loved. I joined a book club. Started volunteering at the animal shelter. Took up watercolor painting. Small things. But they were mine. My life. Not built around waiting for crumbs of inclusion from Denver. And then, at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in late July, Jessica called. Standard childcare rates. I repeated now. My coffee long gone cold. I'm a licensed retired nurse. So I'm actually quite qualified. I can send you my resume if you'd like to verify my credentials. This is insane. Jessica's voice cracked. You're his grandmother. Am I? The question hung in the air between us. Because 2 months ago, I wasn't family enough for a baby shower. I'm just trying to understand the rules here. Jessica, when exactly do I qualify as family? Only when you need something? She was crying now. Full sobs. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about the shower. My mom said, she thought, your mom made you exclude me from your baby shower? No, I mean, yes, kind of. She said first-time moms should have intimate showers, just their side of the family. And you didn't think it would hurt me? You didn't think I'd want to celebrate my first grandchild? Or did you just not think about me at all? Silence. That's what I thought. Linda, please. Her voice was raw, desperate. I know I messed up. I've been meaning to call, to apologize. But every day got harder and I kept putting it off and now I'm drowning and I don't know what to do and, where's your mom? The one who was so helpful that she got a special grandma name and appears in every photo? A pause. Then, quietly, she went home 3 weeks ago. Said she'd done her part. Of course she did. And Marcus is traveling? Singapore. For 2 weeks. I told him not to go but his boss insisted and we need the money and, so I'm the last resort. No. You're his grandmother. I should have included you from the start. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. I closed my eyes. Every instinct in me, every maternal cell, screamed to get on a plane, to help my daughter-in-law, to hold my grandson, to fix this crisis because that's what I did. I fixed things for the people I loved. But Margaret's words echoed, done making yourself small. Jessica, I appreciate the apology. I do. But an apology doesn't undo 2 months of being shut out of my grandson's life. It doesn't erase being called overwhelming for caring. And it doesn't mean I'm going to drop everything and fly across 2 states because you suddenly decided I'm useful. What do you want from me? She wailed. Nothing. Not anymore. The words tasted like ash. But I forced them out. I want you to figure this out the same way millions of mothers do, with local resources. There are postpartum doulas, night nurses, mom groups, lactation consultants. I want you to learn that family isn't a convenience store you visit only when you need something. But you're his grandma, then treat me like it. My voice broke. Do you know what it's been like, Jessica? Seeing photos of you and your mother with Nathan. Reading captions about how grateful you are for her help. While I sit here 2 states away. Shut out? Do you know how many times I've cried looking at his face on a screen? Wondering if I'll ever get to hold him? She was sobbing harder now. I'm 62 years old. I continued. I'm not rich. I'm not young. But I'm also not desperate enough to accept crumbs. When Tom died, Marcus was my whole world. I tried so hard not to lean on him too much. Not to be the clingy widow mother. I gave you space because I didn't want to be the stereotype, the overbearing mother-in-law. And you took that space and shut me out completely. I didn't mean to, but you did. And now you're in crisis and you want me to forget all of that and just show up? Be grateful I'm finally being allowed to help? Silence. Then, so quietly I almost missed it, what would make this right? I hadn't expected the question. Hadn't prepared for the possibility that she might actually want to fix this. I don't know if anything can, I said honestly. But here's what I need to even consider coming to Denver. First, you tell me why. Why I was excluded. The real reason, not your mother's excuse. A long, shuddering breath. I was jealous. What? Of you and Marcus. Of how close you are. My mom and I, we're not like that. We never have been. And watching Marcus talk about you. Seeing how much he loves you. I wanted him to love my family the way he loves you. So I thought if I made my mom the special grandma, if I gave her the important role, maybe Marcus would bond with her like he did with you. And our families would finally feel balanced. The confession hung in the air. It was petty and human and heartbreakingly understandable. So you pushed me out to pull your mother in. Yes. And it didn't even work. She left as soon as it got hard. Said she'd done her time raising babies and I needed to figure it out. Just like she did with me. Oh, Jessica. Second thing I need. I said. My voice softer now. I need to hear this from Marcus too. I need my son to acknowledge that he let this happen. That he chose keeping peace with you over protecting our relationship. Okay. I'll make him call you. No. You'll put me on speaker right now. And you'll call him together. I don't care what time it is in Singapore. It's midnight there. I don't care. 10 minutes later, Marcus's sleepy voice came through the speaker. Mom, what's wrong? Is everything okay? Jessica had stopped crying, but I could hear her ragged breathing. Marcus, I said, Your wife needs help with Nathan. She's asked me to fly to Denver immediately. Before I agree to anything, I need you to be honest with me. Did you know how much the baby shower exclusion hurt me? A pause. Yeah, I did. And you let it happen anyway. I thought you'd understand. That you'd be okay with it because you're always okay with everything. Something cracked open in my chest. I'm not always okay, Marcus. I'm just good at hiding when I'm not. Did you know I cried for 3 days? That Margaret found me still in my bathrobe, holding the blanket I'd made for Nathan, wondering if I'd ever get to give it to him. Mom. His voice was thick. Did you know that seeing photos of Jessica's mom holding my grandson felt like someone was carving out my heart? That I've spent 2 months wondering if I'd even recognize Nathan's cry, his smell, his weight in my arms, because I might never get the chance to learn those things? I didn't. I'm sorry. God. Mom. I'm so sorry. Why did you call me overwhelming? Marcus? What did I do that was so intense it justified cutting me out? Another pause. Then Jessica's voice. Quiet. I told him that. Not him. Why? Because you texted every day. You sent articles and tips and gifts and it felt like pressure. Like I had to be grateful. Had to respond. Had to let you in when I was barely holding myself together. My mom doesn't do that. She just exists. She doesn't need anything from me. I needed to feel included. I said. I needed to know my grandchild. That's not pressure, Jessica. That's love. And if daily texts felt like too much, you could have said, Linda, I'm overwhelmed right now. Can we do weekly check-ins instead? I would have adjusted, but you just shut me out. I know. I handled it all wrong. Marcus's voice came through. Rough. We both did. Mom. I should have stood up for you. I should have told Jess that excluding you wasn't okay. I was a coward. And I'm sorry. The apologies felt real. Raw. But they didn't erase the hurt. Third thing I need. I said. If I come to Denver, it's not as an employee, it's as Nathan's grandmother. That means I'm included in his life going forward. Photos sent directly to me, not just posted on Instagram. Video calls, visits that aren't contingent on crisis. A real relationship. Yes, they said in unison. And fourth, I took a breath. I need you both to understand that this isn't just about me forgiving you. You broke something between us. Trust. And trust takes time to rebuild. So I'm not coming to Denver to magically fix everything and pretend the last 2 months didn't happen. I'm coming because Nathan is my grandson. And he didn't do anything wrong. But you two are going to have to prove to me that this isn't just desperation talking. How? Jessica asked. By doing the work. Therapy, couples therapy. And Marcus, you need some individual sessions to figure out why you can't stand up to your wife when it matters. By acknowledging to your families what happened and taking responsibility. By showing me, over time, that I matter to you both even when things are going well, not just when they fall apart. Okay. Jessica's voice was steadier now. Okay, we'll do all of that. And the rate thing? Marcus asked carefully. Despite everything, I felt a smile tug at my lips. I was being an asshole. I'm not charging you, but I am booking my own return flight, and I'm staying for exactly 1 week. That gives you time to interview and hire actual help. Jessica. I'm not a solution. I'm a stopgap while you build a real support system. Thank you. She was crying again, but it sounded different now. Relieved. Thank you. Linda. Don't thank me yet. I'm still angry. This isn't resolved. I know. But I love you both. And I love Nathan. Even though I've never met him. So I'm coming. Not because you deserve it. But because he does. I hung up and immediately called Margaret. I'm going to Denver. You caved. No judgment. Just observation. I did. But on my terms. That's my girl. When's your flight? Tomorrow morning. Apparently. I need to pack. Want company? I'll drive you to the airport. Yeah, I'd like that. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Jessica had said, that she was jealous of my relationship with Marcus. It made sense. In a sad way. Her mother, who'd left as soon as things got hard. No wonder she didn't know how to let people in. How to accept help that came with emotion attached. But understanding didn't equal excusing. At 4 a.m., I got up and pulled out the baby blanket from my closet. Pale yellow with white stars. Softer than anything I'd ever made. I held it against my cheek, imagining wrapping Nathan in it. Would he be warm? Would he smell like milk and baby powder? Would he look at me and somehow, impossibly, know me? Margaret picked me up at 8 a.m. The drive to the airport was quiet until she said, "You're doing the right thing. Am I? Or am I teaching them that they can treat me like crap and I'll still come running?" "You're teaching Nathan that his grandmother loves him. The rest? That's on Marcus and Jessica to prove. But you show up for babies. Linda. Always. They're innocent in adult messes." She was right. Whatever happened between me and my son, between me and my daughter-in-law, Nathan was blameless. The flight was 2.5 hours of churning anxiety. What if Nathan didn't like me? What if Jessica resented my presence? What if I got there and realized the damage was too deep to heal? What if I was about to have my heart broken all over again? Marcus picked me up at the airport. He looked terrible, exhausted, guilty, older than his 34 years. "Mom." He pulled me into a hug before I could resist. "I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot." "Yes, you are." But I hugged him back. "We have a lot to talk about. But not now. Take me to my grandson." The drive to their house was tense. Marcus tried to make small talk. "Flight okay? Weather's nice here," but I shut it down with one-word answers. He needed to sit with his discomfort. Their house was a modest 2-bedroom in a quiet suburb. The lawn needed mowing. The flower beds were overtaken with weeds. Everywhere I looked, I saw signs of new parents barely surviving. Jessica met us at the door. She looked worse than Marcus, with hair unwashed, dark circles under her eyes, milk stains on her shirt. She was holding a tiny bundle wrapped in a blue blanket. "Nathan." "Linda." She stepped aside to let me in. "Thank you for coming." I didn't answer. I was staring at the baby. He was perfect. Impossibly, devastatingly perfect. Tiny fists curled near his face. Mouth moving in sleep. Dark hair sticking up in soft tufts. "Can I hold him?" My voice came out as a whisper. Jessica placed him in my arms, and the world tilted. He was warm, solid, real. His weight in my arms felt like coming home to a place I'd never been. I looked down at his face and saw Tom in the shape of his eyes. Saw Marcus in his nose. Saw generations of my family written in this tiny person's features. And I broke. Tears streamed down my face as I held him. As I whispered, "Hi, Nathan. Hi, baby. I'm your grandma. I've been waiting so long to meet you." He shifted, made a small sound, and his eyes fluttered open. Dark blue. Unfocused. Searching. I knew he couldn't really see me yet. Couldn't understand who I was. But for a moment, our eyes met. And I felt something lock into place. This was what I'd been fighting for. Jessica was crying too. "I'm so sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry." I looked up at her, at my son standing behind her with his hand on her shoulder, and made a decision. "We're going to fix this," I said. "All of it. But first, Jessica, when did you last sleep?" "I don't." "Thursday?" "It was Tuesday." "Okay, here's what's going to happen. Marcus, you're going to show me where everything is: bottles, diapers, Nathan's sleep schedule. Then you're going to go to the store and buy real food, not whatever you've been surviving on. Jessica, you're going to take a shower, eat something, and sleep. And I'm going to sit right here with my grandson and get to know him." "But," Jessica started. "No buts. You asked for help. This is what help looks like. Go." They went. For the next 4 hours, I held Nathan. I changed him, fed him a bottle, walked him around the house, and sang him the lullabies I'd sung to Marcus. I memorized his cry, not as scary as I'd feared, more indignant than anything. I learned his smell, milk and baby soap, and something indefinable that was just him. I watched him sleep and felt my heart crack open wider with every breath he took. This was my grandson. Mine. And no matter what had happened, what might still happen, this moment was real. When Jessica emerged at 3 p.m., looking marginally more human, I was feeding Nathan in the nursery rocking chair. "You're a natural," she said quietly. "Practice." I had a colicky baby who wouldn't sleep unless he was being walked. I wore a path in the carpet of Marcus's nursery. She sat on the floor beside the chair. "Can I tell you something?" "Sure." "I was afraid of you." I looked at her. "Afraid? You're so competent, so together, so good at everything. And I'm a mess. I can barely keep my son alive." And I kept thinking, when Linda meets him, she's going to know I'm failing. She's going to see all the ways I'm not good enough. "Oh, Jessica." When Marcus was 2 weeks old, I said, I called my mother at 2 a.m. sobbing because I thought I'd broken him. He wouldn't stop crying. I'd tried everything, and he just kept crying. And I was convinced I was the worst mother in the world. "What did your mom say?" She said, Linda, put the baby down somewhere safe. Go into another room and breathe for 5 minutes. He won't die from crying, but you might die from not breathing. She was right. I put Marcus in his crib, went to the bathroom, and cried for 5 minutes. Then I went back, picked him up, and we figured it out together. Jessica was quiet. Then, I don't have that with my mom. She just says, figure it out. I did. Then you have it with me now. If you want. I want. She was crying again. God. I'm so sorry. Linda. I was such a bitch. Yes. You were. But I wasn't perfect either. I should have asked if my texts were too much instead of assuming you'd tell me. I should have reached out to you directly about the shower instead of going through Marcus. We both made mistakes. But mine were bigger. They were. And you need to own that. But right now we're going to focus on keeping this little guy healthy and getting you both some sleep. The big conversations can wait. Over the next week, we fell into a rhythm. I took the night shift, bringing Nathan to Jessica for feedings and handling everything else. During the day, I cooked meals and froze them, did laundry, held Nathan so Jessica could shower or nap. I didn't take over, I supported. I asked before doing anything. Respected her parenting choices even when they differed from what I'd done with Marcus. And I got to know my grandson. His smile still reflects. Not social, but beautiful anyway. The way he startled at loud noises, tiny hands flying up. How he loved being sung to. Especially "You Are My Sunshine." The soft sounds he made when he was content. Like a little bird. I learned him. And in learning him, I started to heal. Marcus came home from Singapore on day 5. He walked in, saw me folding laundry while Jessica napped and Nathan dozed in a bouncer, and burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm such an ass. Yes, you are. Sit down. We need to talk. We talked for 2 hours. About how he'd failed to protect our relationship. How he'd prioritized keeping peace over doing what was right. How he couldn't let his wife isolate him from his family even when her reasons were understandable. She was wrong, he said. But I was worse. Because I knew better. I knew it would hurt you. And I let it happen anyway. Why? Because it was easier. Because confronting Jess meant conflict. And I hate conflict. Because I thought you'd always be there. So what was the harm in putting you second for a while? The harm, I said quietly, is that I'm 62. I don't have forever. And every moment I miss with Nathan is gone. You can't get those back. He looked stricken. I know. God. Mom. I know. You're going to therapy. Both of you. This pattern ends now. We already have an appointment. Next week. Good. On my last night in Denver, I held Nathan in the dark nursery and whispered to him the words I'd been holding in. Your grandpa Tom would have loved you so much. He always wanted grandkids. Used to talk about teaching them to fish, to build things, to love books. He would have held you just like this and told you stories about when your daddy was little. I kissed his forehead. I'm going home tomorrow. Sweet boy. But I'll be back. And I'll send you letters. One for every month until you can read them yourself. So you'll always know your grandma loves you. Even from far away. He sighed in his sleep. And I let myself cry. For Tom. Who'd never meet him. For the months I'd missed. For the relationship that was broken but maybe could be rebuilt. I've been home for 3 weeks now. Every morning, I get photos. Nathan mid-yawn. Nathan after a bath. Nathan in the yellow blanket I made. And every few days, we video call. Jessica holds the phone so I can see him. Talk to him. Sing to him. It's not the same as being there. It doesn't erase what happened. But it's something. Marcus and Jessica had their first therapy session. Marcus called afterward. The therapist says I have a conflict avoidance pattern that dates back to Dad's death. That I'm terrified of losing people. So I try to keep everyone happy even when it's impossible. That makes sense. She also said I need to rebuild trust with you. That actions matter more than words. So, I'm going to call you every Sunday. Just to talk. Not about Nathan. Not about Jessica. About us. I'd like that. Yesterday, a package arrived. Inside was a photo album. Pictures of Nathan's first weeks, including ones from the baby shower I'd missed. Jessica had written a note. Linda, I can't undo what I did, but I want you to have these, so you can see what you missed. Not to hurt you, but so there aren't gaps. You're his grandmother. You deserve to know his whole story, even the parts one stupidly tried to keep from you. I'm sorry. I'm going to spend a long time being sorry, But I'm also grateful you gave me another chance. Love, Jessica. I cried holding that album, but they were different tears than before. Margaret came over, found me on the couch with photos spread around me. You did good, kiddo. I don't know. Maybe I'm a pushover. No. You're a grandmother who loves her grandson. There's a difference. She sat beside me. Is it fixed? No. But it's fixable. Maybe. Good enough. This morning, I started writing the first letter to Nathan. For his first month. Dear Nathan, I wrote. This is the story of how we met. How I almost let pride keep me from you. And how love brought me back. How your parents made mistakes. But they're trying to fix them. How your grandma learned that being strong sometimes means forgiving people who don't deserve it yet. Because the alternative is losing you. And I couldn't lose you. Sweet boy. Not without a fight. I'll write one every month. 12 a year. By the time he's 18, he'll have 216 letters. A whole history of how much he was loved. Even when things were hard. Maybe especially when things were hard. Tom's photo sits on my desk. Watching me write. I can almost hear his voice. You did good. Lynn, our boy came around. And that grandbaby? He's got your eyes. Your stubbornness too. I say to the photo. Runs in the family. The roses outside are still blooming. Survivors. Like Tom said. Like me. Like Nathan. Who came into a complicated family and somehow made it less complicated just by existing. At 6:47 p.m., exactly 12 hours after that first desperate call, my phone buzzes. A video from Jessica. Nathan in his bouncer. Staring at the camera. And her voice, say hi to Grandma. Nathan. She's the lady who saved us. Not me. I think. We saved each other. I hit record on my own phone. Hi. Sweet boy. Grandma loves you. I'll see you next month. Same time. Same place. And this time, I'm invited. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family, even when it hurt? Share it with someone who needs to hear that love isn't about being a doormat, it's about teaching people how to treat you. And subscribe for more stories about ordinary grandmothers doing extraordinary things, choosing themselves without losing their hearts.